Hi guys, we've got such an inhabitant that lives underground. More precisely, our parents called and said that they had caught a mole at the country house. When it got into our hands, it became clear that it is not a mole at all, and it is a blind mole rat, although both animals belong to the diggers. In fact, they are not even relatives. The mole is insectivorous and feeds on various larvae, worms. In a word, it is an animal food. The blind mole rat is a herbivore and eats mainly roots and root vegetables. In fact, this makes it a true pest of gardeners. Getting to the vegetable garden, it becomes a real disaster, destroying tubers and bulbs of cultivated plants. We will not fight with it, but try to film the experiment by making our own terrarium for it. Let's start with assembling a wooden frame from a board 15 centimeters wide. Fix two between each other with screws. We do the same manipulations with each of the four corners. Next, we need a metal corner, which we screw to the board. There will be 4 such corners, 2 on each side. The frame is ready, the corners are in their place, we can put the glass on top, which will become the observation wall in the future terrarium. To fix the glass, we will use wooden strips, which we screw to the ready frame. In total, we have such a house for the underground inhabitant. It is transparent on both sides and has wooden boards on the sides. It's 4 feet high and 3 feet wide. There are some auxiliary girders to hold it upright. The next step is to fill the terrarium with soil. It is the most ordinary from the field, to recreate as close as possible to the real conditions. This is what 1 bucket of soil looks like in the terrarium. There are 14 more to go. After filling, the glass has become incredibly glassy. This will interfere a little with the shooting, but will not affect the experiment. Everything is ready for settlement. Let's move on to the most interesting part of the video. We put the rodent and start observing. Soon it will burrow underground, so now is the best time to examine the animal. The blind mole rat's fur is quite beautiful for an underground animal. It's ivory or ashy yellow. The body is long, the muzzle is slightly flat. There are folds of skin covered with bristles where the eyes should be. But the most interesting feature is the huge teeth. These sharp, outward-pointing incisors are the main digging tool. Perhaps the first disadvantage of our construction is that there is a lot of soil and the ceiling is pressing on the mole rat's head. We'll have to take away a little extra. Moreover, when it starts digging burrows, there will be even soil from above. The rodent is quite brave. It doesn't see the danger, but it feels the need to defend itself and gets into a pose. It's a real surprise when we've seen its ears. They are not like what we are used to seeing in animals. There are no ears, just little tunnels in the head carefully hidden under a layer of fur. So the mole rat finds a rootlet on the ground and starts eating it. It has grasped and holds it with front paws like all the rodents do. So the mole rat starts digging. To be more precise, it is not digging yet, but it is like a bulldozer scattering the boulders. We think it's going to dig with its paws, but it is trying to go deep into the ground with its head. Now it finally uses its paws. It's shoveling with its front paws and swinging it out of the way with its back paws. It's doing what it does best in their life. Everything goes into action. Its paws to dig and its head to push the extra soil aside. It's tried its luck in one direction and then switches to another corner. It backs to the old spot again. It is a restless little fellow. We put the camera on time-lapse and we will show you what the next hour of the digger's hustle looks like. I must say it is really trying, But digging a hole in the crumbly soil is difficult even for a professional in the matter of tunnel construction. After a lot of effort and time has been spent on the process of digging, and the result is not achieved, Fluffy decides to wash its face. Who could have thought that an animal living underground would turn out to be so clean? We decide to please the mole rat a little and offer it a carrot. Let it refresh itself a little and replenish the calories. I must say, it really turns out to be a delicacy for the rodent. It starts eating with such an appetite. It bites and savors, then it pauses and, you won't believe it, starts sharpening its teeth. And what a sound is! We have never seen such a scene. It seems to consider its incisors to be dull after a couple of bites of root vegetables. When its teeth become sharp again, it continues to eat. It's got 2 paws around it and it's gnawing on it. It's a funny little animal. One day has already passed. There has been the construction of the terrarium, filling the ground, settling, but the most important thing we have not seen yet. Namely, it's a tunneling process. The next actions remains behind the scenes. We take out the rodent, moisten the ground, put it back in, and leave overnight. We come in the morning but can't find the mole rat, and there are no carrots either. All the soil is dug up from above and we can't see it. There is not even a burrow leading underground. But there are a lot of tunnels in the ground. You can see them clearly from one side and the other. They're not small corridors, but the rodent itself is nowhere to be seen. And finally, we've managed to find the inhabitant of our terrarium. Now we can see how it works. It's out and listening to who's walking around and what all the fuss is about. And here you can see it pushing some of the dug-up soil from its house with its head outside. Maybe it's not very good. After all, it's happening underground. But you can see that the rodent is clearing the tunnel with its head like a bulldozer. It also moves so fast underground that you can only watch. When there is a lot of rock under the top, the process of pushing it out of the hole comes again. It stands for a while, breathes fresh air, and turns back. Such forays are repeated many times, and what is funny, each time the burrow appears in a different place. Now let's try to look inside. It has so many branches here that it's like a hole underground with different levels of depth. The terrarium is transparent and only 15 centimeters wide, so we can see everything in details. These are not just corridors, but whole chambers, or these are storerooms where future supplies will be stored. They're several times bigger than the size of the rodent itself, both in width and height. It's easy to turn round, wash, and tidy up. Maybe that's why there are so many rooms. By the way, the construction doesn't stop for a minute. In order to go deeper or dig a new tunnel, the rodent digs the ground with its front paws. If the soil does not give in to work with, it uses its teeth. And so in turn, then paws, then teeth, inch by inch. And when there's a lot of soil, it goes back into bulldozer mode, shoveling it out. And that's how fidgety it has looked for an hour, if to look at time-lapse. The rodent has done a good job and climbed out. Probably it is in search of new food. We offer some carrots again, and the mole rat begins to gnaw them greedily. We think it will drag it into the burrow, but no, it lies down next to us and is eating. After a few minutes, the blind mole rat stops as if it's heard us and starts to remember where it comes from. It is so blind that it can't see its burrow. In fact, it buries it trying to find it. But it doesn't give up and starts digging a new hole. If it's managed to get lost in such a small space, how does it orientate itself in the field? It goes to another corner, and already here it can have fulfilled its mission and get home. It's good that all roads lead to the underground network. But the most interesting thing is that now it's started to bury the entrance to its house. It drops the carrot and closes the door behind it. Each time we show how we feed it ourselves. I wonder how the process of stealing crops goes. If you are also curious, put plus in the comments, and we will try to simulate this situation in the next video. That's all for now. Bye-bye.